I'd like to call this meeting of the Lammersville Unified Board of Education to order at 7 o'clock. Just a friendly reminder, this meeting is being live streamed and recorded. Please turn off or silence your cell phone. Everyone could join me in the Pledge of Allegiance at this time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My password is incorrect now.
Roll call, please.
Matthew Balzerini,
Absent.
Ann Bonilla,
Present.
Colin Clements,
Here.
Sharon Lampel,
Here.
David Pombo,
Here.
Roxar Mohammed.
Absent.
Rule and/or corrections to the agenda.
There are none. Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Having first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Committee reports. District Advisory Committee, Trustee Lampel.
The District Advisory Committee met on March 9th. It's a shame that there were no community members in attendance except for Bernice Tingle, President of the CSD Board of Directors. The very informative presentations covered, amongst other items, a review of the goals in the LCAP, the current dashboard information, which shows English learners and homeless students showing significant improvement, as well as our suspension and expulsion rates reducing. A video recording can be found on our district webpage. Our final meeting for the year will be May 4th at 6 o'clock.
Thank you. District English Language Advisory Committee, Trustee Bonilla.
Nothing to report.
Education Committee, I have nothing to report from the Education Committee. Facilities Committee, Trustee Clemens.
We have not met since the last board meeting, and the next and final committee meeting of the year is May 14th at 6:30 here in the boardroom.
Thank you. Policy Committee, Trustee Bonilla.
Nothing to report.
Safety Committee, in Trustee Balzerini's absence, I will report that the Safety Committee meeting that was scheduled for earlier today was postponed, and it will be rescheduled when it's wise to do so. Wellness Committee, that's also mine, and the next Wellness Committee meeting is currently scheduled for April 8th at 3:30 here in the boardroom. Not sure if that will happen or not, more to come. Thank you. Governing Board reports. Trustee Bonilla.
Unfortunately, the Lammersville School Foundation dinner was canceled, so I was planning to attend. I'm very sad, but I hear it is being rescheduled for May 15th, and I plan to attend at that time, fingers crossed. Otherwise, nothing to report.
Thank you. Trustee Lampel.
So also, I was looking forward to the Lammersville dinner dance, and that was canceled. The crab feed was fabulous, great location, a lot of fun. Yeah, they just need to keep doing what they're doing. It gets better and better every year. Fabulous. I also wanted to say these are unprecedented times and circumstances that we're living through. We have to take care of ourselves and our children. As a trustee on this board, I'm exceptionally proud of the quick response to maintain educational experiences for our students was addressed. Additionally, I'm very proud of how quickly and effectively the district and our employee groups, specifically Lammersville Teachers Association, why won't this scroll, and California Employees Association, work together to come to agreements as to how to handle these unique circumstances. Work is being pushed out to our students, mostly electronically. We are relying on parents and families to assure that our students' education continues as best as possible under these current circumstances. Again, I'm very proud to be on this board and the work that's being done here.
Thank you. Trustee Clemens.
I, too, was looking forward to the Lammersville auction and dinner, and we'll be happy to go when it is put on. As mentioned by Trustee Lampel, I attended the high school athletic booster club crab feed. It was a great event, and again, it gets better every year. I enjoy it more and more every year. I also wanted to convey my thanks and appreciation to district staff, teachers, and classified staff for all that you are doing to continue the education of our students while protecting their health and safety and the health and safety of their families and the community. The district is continually adapting to a situation that changes on a daily and sometimes even hourly basis. The district's priority is to ensure the health and safety of our students and provide the highest quality education possible given the resources available. I appreciate the incredible efforts that the district administration, teachers, and classified staff are making to work together to develop a plan of action to transition from essentially 100% in-class learning to 100% remote learning at the snap of fingers, virtually overnight. I wanted to recognize this and thank everyone, district administration, teachers, and classified staff for all that they are doing. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. I would like to echo the comments of my fellow board members in thanking district staff and students and family for the cooperation and work that has gone into turning this thing around so quickly. I'd also like to thank Trustee Balzerini and all the other first responders out there that are having to be on the front lines during these tough times. Also like to thank all the hospital workers, healthcare workers, both in our community and across the country that are on the front lines fighting this fight that we're in. I had the pleasure, before everything changed, to participate in the National Junior Honor Society at Hanson School, where this year's new members were recognized. I also had the pleasure of being involved in a safety tabletop at Hanson Elementary, and was very impressed with the conversation and ideas that came out of that exercise. I believe these sorts of exercises are indispensable in preparing our sites to deal with circumstances that may arise. I also, along with some of my fellow board members, had the pleasure of attending the Mountain House High School Athletic Boosters Crab Feed. My family was with me at the event, and we had a wonderful evening eating crab and participating in the silent and live auctions, and that concludes my report. Receiving of public comments. The board shall give the member, let me start over. The board shall give members of the public an opportunity to address the board either before or during the board's consideration of each agenda item. At a time so designated on the agenda, members of the public may also bring before the board matters that are not listed on the agenda of a regular meeting. The board may refer such a matter to the superintendent or designee or take it under advisement, but shall not take action at that time. The board may place the matter on the agenda of a subsequent meeting for discussion or action. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. Seeing no blue cards and no one waving frantically from the audience, I assume there are no public comments, and we will move on. Consent items for consideration. Governing board meeting minutes, regular meeting minutes from March 4th, ratification of budget revisions, and warrant list from February 2020, contracts under $50,000, ratification of 2019-2020 new hires, ratification of 2020-2021 new hires, and that's a lot of twos. Ratification of 2019-2020 resignations, updated 2019-2020 fundraisers, ratification of school-sponsored overnight trips, and acceptance of donations.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
The contract that we're approving, since these services will probably not be delivered, we won't be obligated to pay this, right? We get billed when they do the services.
Correct.
Okay.
And while I'm being asked a question, we have an overnight trip that we're approving, and we're assuming it's going to get canceled, but we might as well approve it with fingers crossed.
That's my other question. Thank you.
I'll move for approval of consent items as presented.
Second.
Am I the only one that thinks the meeting from early March was forever ago? Doesn't it seem
seems
like
like it
forever ago? So
certainly
much
does.
has changed.
Absolutely.
Having a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absence.
I'd like to welcome some new employees. Terry Harbert, custodian, security 3, and that's a hire for this year. And ratification of a hire for next year, our very own Jennifer Bogle, congratulations, is now a K-8 principal. So congratulations and welcome.
And I would just like to recognize a resignation. Principal Gonzalez, Ryan Gonzalez, was a longtime dedicated employee of the district, and I would like to congratulate him on finding a position to move into. So, congratulations, Ryan.
Yeah.
I echo that. Congratulations, Ryan.
Item 8, district administrative reports.
Yeah, so we have a couple of neat little things to share with you, but I just wanted to kind of give a brief overview of that echoes some of the statements of the board members this evening. You really don't know how strong the team is until the team gets tested, and the last few weeks have been a test. So I want to speak on behalf of myself and senior management of the district. We want to thank our teachers and our staff, our curriculum coordinators, site administrative team, and cabinet members, union presidents who represent their colleagues, Nick Lanier, who's the president of LTA, and Erica Smith-Payne, who is the president of CSEA, our parents who have been unbelievably cooperative, and our students who have seen their world turn 180 degrees. We've handled some things where people were emotional and stuff, but really it's been a very calm transition. Cleaning has been done. Food has been prepared and distributed. Computers, for those who need them, have been distributed. Technology access communication has been delivered. And all of our teachers have been trained in PD, partnering with our curriculum coordinators in distance learning. And all of this was done in 2 days.
Wow.
So I said we had a meeting, which seems like forever ago, like last Tuesday or Wednesday, with the principal corps, and I said, we all wanted to be leaders, and we all like the idea of being in charge, but you really don't find out what kind of leader you are until you have to deal with something that's not easy, and that's difficult and a challenge. And I got to say that the communication up and down the chain of command, and including the feedback from staff and teachers, has been really all about how do we make this work for the kids. So extraordinarily proud of everybody. It's been a very interesting 2 weeks, in particular the last 5 days, but they did good. So I want to show you a few examples of that. So Noel's going to move along. Here is there are 3 satellite food distribution centers, one at Lammersville, one at Cuesta, and one at the high school. I got in trouble for going in the wrong way, so they were following the rules except for me. And so you come in one way, and then you go through and meander through. You pick up your food, and you go out by the tennis courts. So that's an example of our food distribution, and 750 lunches, I think, on the first day, somewhere around there. So very impressive number. Again, Bernie Hill, extraordinary leadership in a difficult time, and she and her team are doing a great job. So in terms of a positive message, this is an example of a teacher from our EPIC program who's reaching out to his students. The video lasts a little less than a minute.
Hey Mustangs, this is Mr. Lawson from EPIC Academy here at Mountain House High School. And I just wanted to say that in the midst of all this uncertainty, the one thing that is certain is our commitment to you. If you need anything, as teachers, administrators, counselors, and staff, we're here to support you. All shall be well. Have a great day.
And then the next video, which again is about a minute, it's an example. It is the call center for PD on distance learning. And I think it just shows you the great work between our coordinators and our teachers.
It's tomorrow. You can go to Great Minds and download the PDFs as well in the meantime, but starting tomorrow, all the videos will be easy to link, so students don't have to sign in anywhere. You can just give the link right to the lesson and the PDF.
Yeah, feel free to reach out, and we'll get back to you.
It's on our
All right, thanks, Craig. Good luck.
Learning from Afar. I know Anna has used assessments for a while. Okay, so yeah, and you can, they can do the problem sets and the
They block certain sites because they don't want students going to certain things, such as like we're now linking to YouTube, we're now giving kids links to things, right? So I don't know the ins and outs of it. That's a question really I think Katrina or Brian have more kind of depth with, so I can find out with them and get back to you. But I don't think it's gonna be very.
So that went on all day. Educators working together to figure it out. And we had a very, very positive launch. Feedback that we got was very positive. But I wanted you to see the work that went into executing a coordinated plan. And when you put talented people to task and they step up, that's what you get right there. That's really excellent work.
So they're talking to other teachers, training
Correct.
them on how to use this system, so then the teachers can
Correct.
use it with the students.
Correct.
Awesome.
And then I think probably the best metaphor for this week, we were visited by Terry, the tenacious turkey, this morning, and he wanted to check in to see how we were doing. He hung out all day, pecking the window.
He's still there.
He's still there. Yeah. Well, that's his girlfriend. He's on hiatus. So, but I thought that's how we all came to work, and that's our buddy. So that tells you how things are going there at the district office. That is.
Terry was leaving little presents when we came in.
Oh, there you go. Well, he's had a good day. He's probably got a little headache by now. And that is my report, Mr. President.
Can I make a comment very quickly? Yes. I mean, I see the emails coming through, what's happening, but seeing the people live in action, like working with the teachers, making sure that as a teacher, I know transitioning from one thing to another can be really difficult, and this whole working at home thing is not what teachers are used to doing. But seeing what those coordinators are doing and seeing the lunch staff out there, it makes it really clear that school is in hand, and students are still learning, and our staff is incredibly dedicated, and I'm actually very impressed. I'm a very visual person, so that brings it to life for me. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And thank you to the staff also.
Great stuff going on here.
Very impressive.
Thank you. Item B, district enrollment report.
We're at 6,087. And we just were asked in the midst of all of this, 9 permits were pulled in the last 2 days. So I know there's a challenge right now, but it's pretty clear they're planning on keeping building homes.
I don't see construction falling to the wayside anywhere. Manteca is on shelter in place, but the construction along 120 is continuing. They're out there every day. So.
Yeah, public works and residential construction is an exception to even the shelter in place by the 6 counties. Public works and residential construction.
That's not residential, though. That's a conference center and a water park.
Well, they're defining a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Basically, everything they can define as an exception, they're defining as an exception.
I just found it interesting that city is on shelter in place and the construction workers are out there with their hammers and everything.
I will find it interesting what happens with that completed water park.
It's supposed to open in April. Something like that. Yeah.
Supposed to open right away, and
I don't think anyone's going to be there.
it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Item C, District Maintenance and Operations Report. I see no Jimmy, so I'm guessing that it's Associate Superintendent Harrison.
Board President Pombo, trustees, Dr. Nicholas, thank you for having me tonight. Jimmy wrote in 8 fonts, so I have to use my cheaters. He attended the Cordis and PDC warehouse construction meeting today, and the warehouse is complete, and we are going to receive the certificate of occupancy from the county. Racks are on order, and they should arrive in the next 2 weeks. Once the racks are in, we're going to clean out those ugly containers and say goodbye to the containers. Work at Cordis and PDC is still moving along as planned, even though the only delay so far has been installation of the kitchen equipment. The custodial staff has been hard at work cleaning our facilities. On Monday, all sites had the admin, multipurpose room, library, and maker spaces cleaned top to bottom, every touch surface. On Tuesday, the crews started cleaning the classroom buildings. All the classroom wings at the K-8 schools will be finished by Thursday, by tomorrow, and the high school will be done by Friday. Daily reports have been given to me by Jimmy, so we are in constant contact, so I know exactly where we are and what facilities in case I'm asked if teachers can go in them yet or not. The whole cleaning, all touch point and everything, it was good to see how long it takes to do all the K-8 and the high school, so we know that now. Jimmy's been shutting down all the AC units to save energy. It's one of his priorities, one of his goals, so he's shut down everything in the classrooms so that there's no power being pushed out into the classrooms. The grounds company is still working, cutting, edging, doing everything they need to do each week. We received a report back from the property and liability inspection that they did last month, and I'm going to read the summary that they gave us about our facilities. Significant improvement was noted this year compared with previous inspections. The district has conducted repair and renovation projects that have reduced the number of safety concerns found on the school sites. Safety is obviously a priority for the district, and we are pleased to see your school sites are so well maintained. We strongly encourage you to continue these efforts and to address the issues found during the inspection, which are detailed within this report. There were a couple small things that we need to address that were in the report, but nothing like we've had in years past, so we've caught up pretty well. The turf company is still on schedule to do our field repairs at the end of March at Lammersville and Cuesta. Are there any questions?
So the cleaning that's going on this week, so our teachers have the option of working at home or coming in? So since the cleaning was going on, were they told don't come in this week?
No, they weren't. We were going to try to prioritize, if a teacher came in, we were going to prioritize their room, get it knocked out, and then move on. So.
Okay, so we're not, like, once it's cleaned, we're not sealing it off to, like, quarantine it or anything? No? Okay.
No, we're taking the opportunity to do a deep clean, just to clean everything.
Okay.
I mean, we have no cases, right? But we want to just make sure, hey, we've got the opportunity, clean every surface, and that's what we're doing.
So do we have a plan when we know school is going to reopen, however many millions of months that might be from now, to do a deep clean again before people come back?
Yes, we will. And when we were in school prior to the closure, we were doing a full clean Wednesdays and Fridays. And Friday late, leaving it sit over the weekend to kill germs. So that was the previous plan, but now that we have the opportunity, so we're going through them all again. So,
So the Altamont building had a water consumption issue, right? The Altamont school, right? Where the water bill was high. Now is a perfect opportunity to shut everything off and see if the meter keeps spinning.
yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to action items. Consider approval of the 2019-2020 intra-district transfer requests. Assuming there's no staff report?
No staff report.
Move to approve 2019-2020 inter and intra-district transfer requests.
Second.
Having a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item B, consider approval of 2020-2021 inter-district transfer requests.
I'll move to
Staff
approve
report?
the 2020, I assumed the answer was no.
So
I'll
did
move
I.
to approve the 2020-2021 Lammersville Unified School District inter-district transfer request presented herein as of 3/2/2020.
Second.
Having a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item C, consider approval of Measure L General Obligation Bonds Financial and Performance Audit Report, June 30th, 2019. Staff report?
Yeah, we have to do an annual audit. We did not spend, a negligible amount of money was spent, the audit it had no findings, correct? Correct.
Move for approval of the Measure L General Obligation Bonds Financial and Performance Audit Report as of June 30th, 2019.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments by the board? Having a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item D, consider approval of Governing Board Resolution 19/2021, authorizing litigation against manufacturers, distributors, and sellers of electronic cigarettes and vaping products. Staff report?
Yeah, I was at the County Superintendent of Schools meeting a couple weeks ago, and the district attorney for their San Joaquin County came in, and she was a very passionate advocate about what she has witnessed as a very methodical, intentional, detrimental effort on the part of big tobacco and vaping product companies, in particular Juul, of targeting teenagers to become addicted to nicotine. Originally, the marketing around Juul-type products was that it was going to help people transition from cigarettes to no smoker. And instead, it ended up being a highly targeted teenage, we want you to smoke. But the insidiousness of it is that they're putting 3 times the amount of nicotine in their product, which makes it much more addictive. And then she started talking about how that branches off, that once you have if you have a 17-year-old addict to nicotine who starts to experiment with other types of substances, the addiction's already there. So she sees it on both ends, just the heinousness of going after kids, and then the fact that it shows up in the criminal behaviors of people a few years later who get into drugs and have some problems. So she has filed a lawsuit with the help of a San Francisco-based attorney firm to sue them directly for their negative impact on our county. And we were asked if we would be interested in joining the lawsuit. It doesn't cost us anything. We might get a nominal amount of money back if there's a financial settlement. But the idea is to go after these people who are essentially acting like narco traffickers of nicotine. And I believe, I don't have this specific, but I believe all of the school districts or most of the school districts in San Joaquin County have joined. So we recommend that we let the district attorney through this agency go after Juul in particular.
Why would you think that, or why would anyone think that they were targeting kids when they have flavors like bubble gum and cotton candy?
Yeah.
My question is that Juul is just one of the manufacturers. There's also several other major manufacturers of these products that the students use. Are they planning to target others, or are they just starting with Juul?
So my understanding is they were going to go after a big dog. And my understanding in that presentation that I was given is that Big Tobacco bought 30% of Juul.
Gotcha.
So Juul is Big Tobacco, or at least,
Makes sense.
so yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And then I think if it works, they'll go after others.
Thank you
So
very much.
I'm very glad that this is on here and that we are joining the force to sue them. I think it's abominable that they are targeting our kids. I do have a problem with addiction to nicotine leads to drugs. I'd like to see that research because I don't think it exists. But that's just my,
Right. That was her
my opinion.
plea.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
I
know.
get it. I don't, okay. I'm
don't-
glad we're doing this, but I had to say that.
I don't know that addiction to nicotine leads to other addictions. I do know that kids and adults as well are using these devices to inhale all kinds of things
yeah.
other than
Oh, yeah.
tobacco. So, and that's an
Yeah,
issue.
we have a vaping display that somehow wound up in the HR office for a little while. And some of this stuff, if you saw it on kids, like one of them looks like a little flash drive. And you don't even, I wouldn't know that that was for vaping.
Well, and my concern is, having dealt with students, they don't even understand really what's inside them, and they don't understand the various risks.
Yeah.
They just enjoy, doing it, but they don't even connect the tobacco with those products. When I say this is, a tobacco products are not allowed at school, I didn't think about that. So they're not making those connections, which is the disturbing thing.
Yeah.
So I highly support this.
I'm happy to move for adoption of Governing Board Resolution 19-20-21, excuse me, authorizing litigation against manufacturers, distributors, and sellers of electronic cigarettes and vaping products.
Second.
Having a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Roll call, please.
Matthew Balzerini,
Absent.
Colin Clements,
Aye.
Ann Benia,
Aye.
Sharon Lampel,
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye. Item E, consider approval of contract for cybersecurity services with DataPath in the amount of $76,020. Staff report?
Yeah, so D and E are kind of going after the bad guys. So the criminal element in the hacking, I don't know, the technology theft world are now targeting school districts because they can steal a 5-year-old's identity, and for theoretically 13 to 18 years have a fake ID and be able to steal money. So they are hacking or going after computer systems. It was recommended by Staff Assistant Superintendent Sherburne that we beef up that part of our arsenal.
They're also freezing school district data and holding it for ransom around the country. And districts have just given up, and many of them have paid. So I'm very happy to see this, that hopefully we could avoid something like that.
So I move to approve the DataPath Security Services Agreement for 1 year.
I'll second.
Any further discussion or question by the board? Having a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item F, consider approval of Public Disclosure Form AB 1200 of Collective Bargaining Agreement for Unrepresented, Certificated, and Classified Confidential Management Groups, California Schools Employees Association, Chapter 873, and the Lammersville Teachers Association. Staff report?
Well, I'm very proud to be able to say this. I want to thank Anthony Ted Miller, our Director of HR, and our negotiating team, who had a very productive and very professional dialogue with LTA and their team. We came to an agreement, and has been our practice for the recent history of the district is if we come to a settlement, it's shared amongst all of our employees, and that's what this represents. And so a very good job on everybody's part, and the growth in our district has allowed us to build great programs and also take good care of our employees.
And congratulations on getting this done before school had to close.
Move to certify the public disclosure form AB 1200 of collective bargaining agreement for unrepresented, certificated, and classified confidential management groups, California School Employees Association, chapter number 873, and the Lammersville Teacher Association.
Second.
I would just like to thank staff, Mr. Miller and others, along with the representatives from the unions, for working through this and getting what I think is a good agreement for all concerned. Any other questions or comments by the board?
I would echo the sentiment, of course. I I just congratulate the entire team for working together, understanding what was possible, and coming up with a great agreement.
And I'm jealous.
Having a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item G, consider approval of the second interim financial report for the 2019-2020 school year. Staff report?
Well, we want to, again, she's been here for about 7 or 8 months now, but Gloria Grijalva has delivered an excellent second interim financial report along with her team. And we have positive certification, which again, for those who aren't familiar, is we can pay our bills this year and the 2 subsequent years. So congratulations on a job well done. And all of that includes the raise that you just approved.
And you did that all in your spare time with all this stuff going on, right? I know.
Before that.
Thank you very much for your hard work.
Yes, congratulations.
I move to approve the second interim financial report for the 2019-2020 school year as presented.
And I'll second.
And I would just like to thank Assistant Superintendent Grijalva for her and her team's hard work in getting this done. Having a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item H, consider approval of agreement between the Lammersville Unified School District and the Lammersville Teachers Association from July 2019 to June 30th, 2021. Staff report?
Yeah, this is just formal recognition of the agreement and language in the LTA contract.
I'll move for approval of the agreement between the Lammersville Unified School District and the Lammersville Teachers Association from July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2021.
Second.
And I would just like to reiterate my thanks for everyone involved.
Wait, I have a quick question. Why is it only 2 years?
It was a 2-year deal.
Oh, okay, because 3 is common, so that's
We'd have taken one.
not wrong. Okay.
Having a first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item I, consider approval of Emergency Governing Board Resolution 19-2022, delegating authority to the superintendent to take necessary action to protect students and staff from the spread of coronavirus COVID-19. Staff report?
Yeah, I've been doing this job or parts of this job since 1991. And this is, I was a principal in my second month of being a principal when 9/11 happened. But this has been a really unbelievably dynamic, challenging situation. Last Friday, I was summoned to the county superintendent's office, essentially, for a meeting. We met with public health officials. There was a very serious conversation, and the decision was made uniformly for everyone to close schools, and we went to work right thereafter. In consultation with our attorney, it was his recommendation based on the language in Board Policy 3516.5 that we bring to the board formal ratification of that action, just as a good practice and support of where we're at right now. And so our recommendation is to approve that.
Well, I can't think of anyone else who I'd rather have at the helm than you. So I highly recommend approval of the Emergency Governing Board Resolution 1920-22, delegating authority to the superintendent to take necessary action to protect students and staff from the spread of coronavirus COVID-19. So moved.
Second. Sorry.
I just want to say, when Superintendent Nicholas called me, I was not in agreement. I thought we were closing school too early. Because my point of view at that time, and this stuff changes every 2 hours. I said, okay, so there are a handful of cases in San Joaquin. We're going to close for 3 to 4 weeks. And what happens when there's 350 cases when we're ready to come back to school? Well, now we know the governor said yesterday, we're probably not coming back to school this year. We really don't know. So I did think we were closing too early, but I understood why we were closing.
I'm just a little bit surprised that this resolution is so narrow. It only gives you authority for COVID-19 and no other safety issues.
In this particular case, this was written by the county and distributed to the school districts. And so we followed that for consistency's sake. In board policy 3516.5, I could, let's say there was I don't know, something terrible happened. I could do the same action under that board policy, but we would then have to come back and do another thing like this.
In most other situations where we have to close school, it doesn't happen very often, but it would be a directive from the state or the nation. This is kind of out of the ordinary where it was a recommendation, and nobody said thou shalt, so it is a little bit different.
All right. Having a first and second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Roll call, please.
Matthew Balzerini,
Absent.
Colin Clements,
Aye.
Ann Bonilla,
Aye.
Sharon Lampel,
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye. Moving on to item 10A, Board Policy Administrative Regulation 5113, Absences and Excuses. Staff report?
Yeah, so this is kind of a tale of two cities kind of situation. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. So we have worked very hard this year to really organize our practices and procedures under the leadership of Irene Busatil and the Student Services Department. And it's very, very rare, but we raised our attendance rate percentage by nearly 1 percentage point. That is a significant effort and a significant outcome, and we're very proud of that outcome. That was the best of times. On the worst of times, we have an unprecedented health crisis in the country and the world, and one of the things they said is, if you're sick, go home.
Stay home.
And so our efforts to have sick kids stay home, but also have excellent attendance practices, ran in the face of that. So we did some research, and what we were bringing forward before things escalated to where they ended up was that we wanted to loosen the expectations around absences and excuses tied to BPAR 5113 as we were dealing with this, because we wanted sick kids to stay home, sick teachers to stay home, and the expectations in that BPAR were more stringent than we felt that the direction we were getting from public health. So we still stand by that direction, and but we, things are completely different. But I think this illness, in particular with respiratory illness, is tied to this. We should follow what the public health tells us, and that's our recommendation. So it's not an action. I'm just, it's a board policy.
Yeah.
I was given direction, but if I'm going to contradict or go against a board policy, I wanted to bring it forward and say, this is where we're at. If it's the consensus of the board to say, no, hold it tight, I'll direct staff. If it's the consensus of the board to say, loosen it up because of the direction from the health officials, then that's what we just want to cross a T and dot an I here.
I definitely agree with loosening it up. Are we going to address a lot of parents who are pushing back on the, you have to have a medical note after you've been absent 5 days in any year? Are we?
Right, all of that is tied to this.
Yeah.
All of that is tied to this.
But are we going to talk about changing language permanently or just loosening this up now? I'm a little confused as to where we're going.
Well, where we were going when this was written was we were going to not count the absences against families because kids were being told to stay home. Mm-hmm. And then that was when there were 3 COVID cases. Now there's 14 with two deaths. So it's a totally different world 5 days later. So what I just simply wanted to say is the direction from the health officials told us to loosen it up. Families have a legitimate gripe if we're being contradictory. Right. And so we want to be consistent with the direction from health and bend the rules on the policy.
Okay, especially since kids who potentially were exposed was told to stay home also.
Correct.
How do you get a medical note for that? Because they're not sick yet.
Correct.
And I believe that once all of this is resolved, and hopefully that will be sooner rather than later, that we may want to bring this
Yeah.
back as a discussion item to give direction to staff. But at this time, I think it would be ludicrous to try to make any decisions when we don't know where this whole big picture is going. Thank you. Item B, Board Bylaw 9250, remuneration, reimbursement, and other benefits. Staff report?
Yeah, so we looked, and it has been since 2012 since the board stipend, that's what I call it, has been addressed to be increased, and we've increased salaries for all employees almost every year. And we read the rules about it. It's a very tiny amount of money, but we thought we should honor the board's efforts as well. And what the rules say is at the current rate, you could go up 5% annually if the board wanted to do that annually. But we're recommending for this year a 5% increase on a very small amount of money based on our ability to do so in Board Bylaw 9250.
That's 2 Starbucks runs in a month.
$12 is a lot.
And it's $12 more that I can, $12 more that I can spend at the silent auction.
Absolutely. Or that you can push my bid up. Yeah, I think we're going, yeah, I'm okay with it.
Well, we're certainly not here for the money.
No.
So we're here for the kids. I appreciate the offer, definitely. Either way is fine with me.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I don't need it.
Yeah, but time is time, and, you know, the board won't always be the 5 of us.
Yeah, that's true.
We do have to compare to other districts. Yeah, none of us are doing this for the
Anyway, I would not
$12
be,
more dollars a month. It's not going to
I
change
would not be
my
in
world.
favor of increasing it 5% every year, but
Right.
every 7 years, I don't think is exorbitant.
Usurious.
1% a year is
And if
probably okay, yeah.
And if we did it every second or third year, I don't think that would be an issue. I think everyone on this board works very hard, and admittedly, none of us do it for the money, but
No, because we all give it back.
this is true. I gave 2 years' worth of stipends back just the other day.
Yes, you did.
Very well. Any more discussion on that? Moving on to calendar, and this is all subject to,
And I can say A has been canceled.
okay, the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee meeting has been canceled. Wednesday, April 15th is the next governing board meeting, which I don't
Could I
think.
comment on that, please?
Yes.
I don't know if all of the board is aware that we can do meetings by telephone
Yes.
during this crisis. So, just a little FYI.
And there are a lot of idiosyncrasies to that. One is, and I thought that at least one of us had to be here in this room. We have to let the public come here in this room or somewhere in the district, but no board member has to be present at that meeting, so we could all call in. I think at least some of the board has to be within the confines of the district to do that, but none of us have to be here. And in fact, I mentioned it to the superintendent when Trustee Balzerini said he was working and wouldn't be able to come tonight, that if he was able and the logistics were in place at present, that he could call in. And I also asked the superintendent to see what it takes to get the logistics in place so that we can do that, because it's very possible that one or more of us could be exposed and self-quarantining at home and still want to and possibly need
As of
to.
right now, I don't have a problem coming here, but you know what? A few weeks from now, who knows?
Who knows?
Like I said,
Yeah.
this thing changes every 2 hours.
We just have to put the
Yeah.
infrastructure in place,
Yeah,
prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
yeah.
And moving on, item C, Wednesday, April 8th is the next Wellness Committee meeting, and I'm guessing that may not happen, but we will send information out when that is officially canceled. In a moment, we will be adjourning to closed session where we will discuss conference with labor negotiators, public employee discipline dismissal release complaint, and conference with real property negotiators. Do I have a motion?
Move to adjourn to closed session?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're now adjourned to closed session. Thank you, those of you who made it out this evening, and have a wonderful rest of the evening, and please stay healthy.